Hello, welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers. I'm your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
And we're coming to you on Sunday, December 22nd. We're about to roll into the big holidays of the year. Christmas and New Year's coming up. You ready, Corwin?
I'm actually very ready for the holidays. It should be a good time.
Yeah, I'm ready to not be at my office much anymore.
I completely agree.
Yeah, much better not doing that and getting up in the morning to work. Because you know what? They pay you anyway. Great part about being a salaried employee, they pay you whether you go in or not. Anyway, let's talk about some sports, shall we?
Yeah, let's do those sports.
All right, so let's talk about some of the baseball things that happened, just to get that, I guess, kind of out of the way. Let's start with let's start with the MLB Umpires Association. They have preliminarily agreed to possibly, I'm trying to add as many conditioners as I can, possibly work with robo-umps at some point in the future.
That would be a big step.
Yeah. So what do you think about that, just in an immediate reaction to it?
I like that they are willing to at least be open to innovation, that they're open to the idea. I know we've seen it in, the minor leagues somewhat here and there. But hopefully this is them saying, all right, we're not perfect. We have to finally admit that. And then this is probably what's best for baseball. We're not going to jump right into it. We're going to be cautious about it because that's our due diligence. But we are at least going to be open to the idea of having this. And I love that. Sorry.
I think it's actually a much more selfish reason for them agreeing to it.
Why's that?
So if the MLB was like, umps get paid too much, we're going to slash your salaries in half or whatever. Or like literally any other demand. We don't like that you guys have so much power. We're going to fire half of the umpires and bring up minor league ones. Well, the problem with that is, like, the umpires that are in baseball right now are probably like the best of the best. There's probably a few guys here and there who could be changed out for better ones, like Angel Hernandez, CB Buckner, Joe West, like, the guys but like, by and large, those are probably the best umps throughout, the minor leagues and major leagues of baseball working in MLB. So if they went on strike, they have all the leverage. It'd be the replacement refs in the NFL again. It would be awful.
Mm-hmm.
So the MLB doesn't have any grounds to really, they have no leverage because they can't afford to have a strike zone get worse or calls get worse to the degree that they would. But if there's robo umps and you could put, a guy who knows what's happening but might not have like the greatest concept of strike zone, you could put him back there, give him the buzzer thing that tells him if it's a ball or a strike, and just let him call it, and he'll do fine. As we saw with various tests in the minor leagues, where they gave, I remember I saw one video where they gave, I think like an actor or some shit, just a random dude, a buzzer and let him call balls and strikes, and it went fine. It went A-okay. Granted, it would get more complicated if he had to do something more complicated, like there was a play at the plate and he had to call it, or deciphering between fouls and non-contacted swings or what have you. But regardless, it really, really bridges the gap in skill and talent between the current major league umps and their minor league counterparts, to the point where the MLB umpires union striking ain't really much of a threat anymore. So I think coordination moving forward is the only play they really have if they want to maintain the power dynamic that they have in negotiations and in baseball itself.
I'm very upset that you thought of the perfect way MLB could make, improving the game of baseball a selfish and shitty, God damn it. Now I don't even know if I want robo umps anymore,
Oh, I still do. Fuck that shit.
Until robo umps get programmed to have egos and are willing to, kick out players for the most random bullshit, then that'll be a different story. But until then, I'll still be a fan of theirs.
Yeah, I honestly think that at the end of the day, as long as if the Umpires Association just says, "Look, keep all of my guys employed," and we're good, I think that they take that. Like if the number of umps and their pay and their union strength all stayed the same, and the only thing they changed was the home plate ump that day has a little bit less to do. I think the umps would be like, yeah, all right.
No, I completely agree. So should we do an episode on all the best fights with umpires now that they're never going to be working in baseball ever again? Not a single at bat.
For sure, a lifetime highlight reel of all the greatest ejections. It's just basically an all Earl Weaver and Bobby Cox episode.
Who was the coach of the Orioles? Buck Showalter. He has some good fights in there.
Buck was, but Earl Weaver is the best because he had the cigarette pockets sewn into his uniform. Like, how do you compete with that?
I know I've seen videos of Earl Weaver doing that. I just don't know Earl Weaver well enough to be able to pick them out of my brain off the top of my head.
The most famous one is where he just keeps bouncing from ump to ump as they have already booted him from the game. Just keeps going from ump to ump, pointing in their faces and going, "You fucked me. You came here today to fuck me."
Who stole second base?
Oh, I think that was a Pirates manager.
Ah, shit, I should know that.
Yeah, I think it was a Pirates manager at some point, or player or something. Yeah, just took second base, threw it into the fucking clubhouse steps in the dugout. Yeah.
McClendon from the Pirates.
Yeah. That's a great video.
All right. Well,
there was that Mets manager who got ejected from the game and then came back in disguise.
Yeah, and the mustache. Oh, yeah. Lloyd McClendon was the Pirates manager.
Oh God, I fucking love baseball.
I really, now that oh, by the way, I have graduated college. That happened yesterday.
Woo! Yeah.
So now that I have all the time in the world on my hands, I'm going to be able to come up with crazy, weird episodes like going over fights with managers and umps.
That's exactly what you should be spending your golden years doing, my friend.
Oh yeah, I don't know how much time I got left, but I'm gonna get real weird with it.
As you fucking should. I thought I had something else to say and I didn't. You want to talk? You want to talk about Dallas Keuchel?
Yeah, let's talk about Dallas Keuchel.
Dallas Keuchel, aka why did the Angels do this? Dallas Keuchel / what the fuck is wrong with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim? So
definitely true.
So Dallas Keuchel has signed a 3-year, $55.5 million contract with the Chicago White Sox. It includes a vesting option for a 4th year, which would make it into a 4-year, $74 million contract, which is a very, very reasonable amount of money.
Oh, yeah. I feel like this is a great deal for both groups, both parties. Dallas Keuchel finally gets more than a 1-year deal, and the White Sox get a pitcher who can just chew through innings, is very effective. They have the defense to support him, and they're not paying out the ass to get him.
No, and this comes on the back. I don't think we talked about it, but the White Sox also signed Gio Gonzalez to a 1-year contract earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
So earlier this offseason, I suppose. So as of right now, their official depth chart is definitely not been updated on their website, since it says their starting rotation is Lucas Giolito, Reynaldo Lopez, something Cease, and Dylan Cease and Dylan Covey. The Dylans of Chicago. But anyway, so that means that the rotation should, in theory, be some combination of Lucas Giolito, Gio Gonzalez, Dallas Keuchel, Reynaldo Lopez, and then starter number 5. And
it'll be
that
Cease.
that's not a bad rotation, honestly. Michael Kopech, that's who the 5th star is going to be. Michael Kopech.
Oh, very true, very true.
Dude, that's like not a bad rotation. That's a rotation that will not actively lose you games.
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of potential here with Giolito, Lopez, Cease, Kopech being, high ceiling guys. Arguably some have also significantly low floors like Ronaldo Lopez, but bringing in a guy like Dallas Keuchel who will be able to keep this afloat. He'll be there, their buoyancy almost. Gio Gonzalez is that, veteran arm. They have a ton of potential to have a really great rotation, and with the rest of the team that they've put together, this could be a competing team this year.
This really could. Gio Gonzalez is a very under the radar signing.
Yes.
How many innings do you think he pitched in 2019?
Ooh,
Because he was hurt.
Maybe like 50 or 60.
Yeah, pretty close. 87.1. That's actually a lot more than I thought. 87.1. So for him, that's less than half a season, just about. Compared to what he usually puts up. He's usually like a 175 to 200 inning guy, and he still put up 1.7 WAR, which is fine. Lifetime WAR of 29.2. Lifetime ERA of 3.6. Lifetime WHIP of 1.315. Lifetime FIP of 3.65. Like very, very in line with his ERA. He's by all accounts like a nice, decent 3rd, 4th starter.
Yeah,
and that's what they signed him for.
Like, obviously, he's getting older. He's not going to be nearly as effective as he was, back in the day. But at the same time, if they really only need him to be kind of a bridge between this season, getting the next guys, the Kopechs, the Ceases, ready to take over full-time rotation spots, he's perfect for that because it's not a lot of money at all. He could be pretty consistent when he's up there, and at the end of the day, he's going to get the job done. And that's what you need from him.
Yeah, it's such a good basic signing. Real quick, you mentioned his age, and I realized I didn't know how old he was. How old do you think he is?
I gotta say he's like 34.
34 on the dot.
Yeah, I'm the smartest person. I get a degree, and I turn into the smartest person alive.
Yeah, I don't know why 34, I guess, is the right age that I would have guessed him as being, but for some reason it still feels somehow older and younger than I thought he was going to be.
Love it.
Like it's too on the nose. It should have been one or the other. And then like as we said, Dallas Keuchel, he was once a top of the rotation guy for the Astros back in his, I guess you could say, heyday, which also included weaker Astros rotation. So,
yes.
Those two things put together puts him at the top of it. But he is still a very effective pitcher. He still started meaningful playoff games. Well, I guess every playoff game is meaningful. Started playoff games for the Braves just this past offseason, or this past October. And here he is getting a contract he certainly deserves with a team that certainly needs it. And I mean, I am just infatuated with this team right now. As we all know,
for a while.
Yeah, as we all know, I have a weird liking of the Chicago White Sox, and this year they might actually put a thing or two together. Here's their. I'm going to read you their lineup real quick. All right, it's playing catcher Yasmani Grandal, first base Jose Abreu, second base right now is Nick Madrigal. That's a little bit third base Yoan Moncada.
He's okay.
I'll keep going. Third base Yoan Moncada, shortstop Tim Anderson, left field Eloy Jimenez, center field Luis Robert. Right field, Nomar Mazara, DHing Zach Collins, and then a starting rotation of Lucas Giolito, Dallas Keuchel, Reynaldo Lopez, Michael Kopech, and Gio Gonzalez.
That's a really good team.
That shit ain't fucking. That's like at least a 500 team.
Like
that
honestly,
team will win at least 81 games.
If they can get, a guy that's not Nomar Mazara, like no offense against him, but he doesn't exactly excite me in right field, that's easily a competing team in the next 3-4 years.
Yeah, no, 100%. If they can, there's a couple weak spots. I also would like to see them change out Zach Collins, at DH, but plenty of time for that to happen. Plenty of time for people to break out within their organization. Like, it's just cool shit.
Oh, they have so much potential in that organization. Like their prospect pool is phenomenal.
Yeah, which means it's good for them to either have someone who breaks out or
They have
trade bait for a different guy.
They have Andrew Vaughn that could take over DH for Zach Collins fairly soon, who was a Golden Spikes winner in college, and was like the 3rd overall pick in the draft this year. So superstar potential for him.
Yeah, plus like their position players can all so readily DH because they're all fine defensively, but like if you have a guy that you want to go acquire, like they would never because of the situation. But like let's say an Anthony Rendon style person was up there who's like a phenomenal third baseman, a phenomenal defensive player and bat. Like you have enough okay defenders that like just throw him in DH. Like let that guy play the position. Just throw Jose Abreu at DH. Just throw Yoan Moncada at DH. It doesn't fucking matter much. This
Honestly,
is
I
good.
kind of see Abreu's getting older too. Like they could easily bring in Vaughn to play first base like he was drafted to, and then just have Abreu be a phenomenal hitter at DH for the next couple of years.
Which I'm sure
they
that's the plan.
Yeah, and they definitely have options around the bases to really switch things up.
So I want to now talk about this from the Angels side of things, because what the fuck is wrong with them? You're going to tell me that the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, who just spent $245 million on a third baseman, which was it an area of need? Sure. Was it anywhere near the top of the list? Absolutely not. And they couldn't spend $60 million on Dallas Keuchel over 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it would have been. $60 million. That's only $4.5 million than the White Sox paid for him. I can't believe they didn't have that.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it on the podcast plenty about how we love the Anthony Rendon signing because it's finally a commitment to start competing, to build talent around Mike Trout. But can we honestly argue that this might have bankrupted them as a team? Because they're not doing anything outside of that signing, and it's maddening.
How much do you think the Gio Gonzalez contract was for?
Oh my God, nothing.
1 year, $5 million.
Fuck. Did they get a throw in where he's gonna pay himself to fill up the vending machines in the clubhouse?
Oh, of course. No, I don't want my guys spending $1 on sodas. No, so they did sign Julio Teheran, which I like. It's a 1 year, $9 million deal, so it's still just a flyer, which is fine. 1 year deals should not be an issue for a team because there's just no commitment to it, and they're usually pretty cheap. Like it really shouldn't be a thing that they have to worry about. So the fact that they wouldn't sign, all right, great. You signed Julio Teheran, you signed no one else pitching wise. Starting pitching wise, at least to the best of my knowledge. So your current rotation is Andrew Heaney, Julio Teheran, sometimes Shohei Ohtani, and then a couple other maybe I don't know what's the name of that, the Jaime Barria.
Ooh, true.
And then some bullpen days and a lot of prayer. Like
a lot of prayer.
Like if you throw Gio Gonzalez in there, it's still ugly, but it's better. And if you throw Dallas Keuchel in there, it's not ugly anymore. It's not great, but it's not ugly anymore.
No, like if you threw Dallas Keuchel in and had it be Keuchel, Heaney, Ohtani, Bundy, Canny, that's a fantastic starting five in my mind.
Right now, their rotation is in order: Andrew Heaney, Julio Teheran, Griffin Canning, Dylan Bundy, Patrick Sandoval.
Yeah, that's so bad.
Oh my God! It's Jekyll and Hyde for Angels guy forever in Andrew Heaney. It's Braves cast off Julio Teheran, which again I support, but still It's Griffin Canning, which is it's just a mystery. Dylan Bundy, who definitely is better than what he has been on the Orioles the past couple years.
Mhm.
But still, the fact that he's a fourth starter on this team is not tells you what he is. And then I genuinely don't know who Patrick Sandoval is. So
I do not either.
yeah,
If his name was Pablo, I'd know who he was, but
I almost read it as that, honestly.
yeah. But man, I can't get over how perfect Keuchel would have been for this team. Like having Rendon and Andrelton Simmons on that left side, right side. I don't know which
Left side.
orientation. Okay. Left side of the diamond. My God, like that would be perfect for the kind of pitcher Keuchel is. Like it's a team built around defense, and that's exactly what Keuchel thrives in.
Yeah, that and all the intangibles line up so well also because there's not really a veteran dude on the Angels. Like Andrew Heaney, I think, is the most veteran person. I guess Dylan Bundy is now, but regardless, a veteran guy with success who's won a World Series ring. He's been there. He can bring a little bit of leadership, good humor, to the pitching staff because they have that in spades on the hitting side, with Pujols and Upton and whatnot and Trout. But, it would have been really good for that staff to get a guy who also has a good arsenal so he can help work with some of the younger dudes on, how you throw some sneakier shit because he's not a guy who throws hard. There's a lot of advantages to having a Dallas Keuchel on your team. And they could have had actual Dallas Keuchel on their team. And they opted not to. $60 million. That's $200 million. They could have signed Dallas Keuchel and Lucas Giolito, and it's $180 million fewer dollars than what they signed Anthony Rendon to.
That's filthy. That is
I know.
filthy.
And going by WAR, if Dallas Keuchel and Lucas Giolito stay healthy an entire season, I would say that those two combined probably put up the same single season WAR that Anthony Rendon will, because you got to figure Rendon's going to give you anywhere between 6 and 8. 8 on a really good year, 6 on a fine year. And if you told me that Dallas Keuchel is going to throw up 3.5 WAR and Gio Gonzalez will throw up 2.5 to get you to 6, I'd say yeah, that sounds fine. But based on where those 6 WAR are going to be in their positions, I would say that they should probably go with the pitching WAR because the pitching's awful. It's so bad. And they're killing Mike Trout.
They really are. I refuse to let Mike Trout go his career without a title. That would be a goddamn shame.
He's going to be our generation's Ted Williams.
I fucking hope not, man. I really do.
Except without the war service time. Well, things are getting dodgy, but
So, I mean, there's not that many options left in the free agent pool for, the Angels to sign to really get another guy. I mean,
Hyun-Jin Ryu still out there.
The big one. Taijuan Walker, Alex Wood, Jimmy Nelson, Ivan
Alex
Nova.
Wood. Oh, Alex Wood, I think would be a great signing for them.
I agree. I think
again
that's their
a 1-year
best
deal
bet
that
outside
wouldn't
of
cost much.
Hyun-Jin.
Yeah, honestly, I bet they could get Hyun-Jin Ryu for a pretty reasonable 3-year deal with honestly, basically, a mildly more expensive, and I mean mildly more expensive version than the Dallas Keuchel contract. Give him 3 years with a vesting option for the 4th year at $20 million a year.
For Alex Wood?
No, for Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Oh, okay. I was going to say $20 million a year for Alex Wood. That's much higher than you can get him for.
And then give Alex Wood a 1-year, $12 million contract with a team option for a 2nd year at 10. He would take that.
Oh, 100% he would.
In my mind, that means nothing. He would take that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what other options he's going to have, but if someone offered me $10 million, I would take that.
You know who they should sign? Rich Hill in his age 41 season to a 9-year contract worth $8 million.
Honestly, sure, why not? What's the worst thing that could happen?
Straight up though, like if the Angels announce tomorrow that they've signed 9 starting pitchers to 1-year deals and just let them figure it out in spring training. Like imagine the Angels signed like, all right, I want to say eight starting pitchers, all at 1-year, $5 million contracts, and said we're just going to figure out who wins in spring training. Would you even be upset?
No, I'd
be thrilled.
It's ingenious.
So imagine if it comes out that they sign. Here are the 8 pitchers. These are actual free agents, who I think might be able to be gotten for a 1-year, $5 million contract, a la Gio Gonzalez. Ivan Nova, Jason Vargas, Drew Smiley, Tyson Ross, Clay Buchholz. How many was that? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6, Taijuan Walker. Number 7, Matt Moore. And number 8, I'll say Homer Bailey.
Not the prettiest group, but honestly, the chances that one of them has a good year is, finally getting healthy or whatever it may be, fairly decent. You guys couldn't, or not you guys, the Angels could find a guy who could just chew up some innings for them this year.
Yeah, straight up, because that's really, people call 1-year contracts like they take like a lottery on a guy. That's it. And you know what you got to do when you play the lottery? You got to play the numbers, man. You got to know what, it's never going to pay off for you if you go into the lottery, you go into your local bodega and you get a single lottery ticket. You got to get 10 of them shits, If you want to take a risk on a guy working out and it's like a little bit dodgy, whether he will, is Clay Buchholz going to be okay in his age 35 season? Probably not. But hey, he could have a really weird 3.5 ERA season where he, is your third starter all year and somehow doesn't fuck it up. If you tell me that Jason Vargas weirdly has the best season of his career at age 37 before disappearing into obscurity again, I'd go, oh, that's fucking weird. But sure, why not? Or Tyson Ross. You could tell me any of these guys are due for one single good year somewhere.
Right.
I could believe it because baseball's fucking weird. Sports is weird like that,
Mm-hmm.
But hey,
honestly, I still think Rich Hill might be the Angels, miracle maker. Guy's gonna be 40 years old, but had a 2.45 ERA last year. Fucking why not, dude? Gun it for the playoffs this year. Just see what happens.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see with these Angels.
Yeah. Hey, if they want to give me money, I'll pitch for them.
There you go.
Never pitched before, but sure. Yeah, I'll try it.
We'll play slow pitch softball together.
God, what do you think? The average OPS would be against me in Major League Baseball.
4,000.
Yeah,
every
single one is out of the park. All right, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a nice goal for me would be to keep it under 3,000, but if it ends up being 4, sure. That'll be a cool little anecdote in MLB history, and I'd be happy to play that part.
Shall we talk about some football, my friend?
Yeah, let's talk about some football. Where do you want to start?
I want to start with the Rams.
Let's do it.
The Rams have been eliminated from the playoffs.
Yes, they have.
It's just so right now, the division leaders are the Philadelphia Eagles at 7-7, tied in record with the Dallas Cowboys at 7-7. Tragic. The NFC North, the Green Bay Packers 11-3. The NFC South, the New Orleans Saints at 11-3, and in the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers at 12-3. The wildcard teams as of right now, the Minnesota Vikings at 10-4, the Seattle Seahawks at 11-3, and the Rams 8-7 cannot compete for a wildcard spot. They have been eliminated. Oh my God.
It's
Jared Goff.
It's purely Icarus. They flew so high so quickly, and the fall was spectacular.
And every player that they traded for just never really put it together with them.
Yeah, I mean, it just Jalen Ramsey hasn't been playing super well. Brandon Cooks just has never been able to put it together. Um, Honestly, their best signing that they didn't draft was Dante Fowler, who has been playing
Yeah.
really, really good football, but is a free agent this year. It's just there's just so many bad contracts on this team. So, all right, so here's some stats for you. So, notable Rams 2020 dead cap: Jared Goff $51 million, Aaron Donald $41 million, Todd Gurley 25.6, Brandon Cooks 21.8, and Robert Woods 4.3. That is a shit ton of money for 5 players that
Yeah.
have been on various levels of underperforming. Um, Aaron Donald being the only one who is still so good even when he's underperforming that you really can't even include him in the argument. But they also have a lot of pending free agents that they are not going to be able to re-sign that are holding their team together. Dante Fowler Jr., like we said, Andrew Whitworth, their left tackle and probably their best offensive lineman altogether. Um, I forget his first name, but Brockers, defensive tackle, outside of Donald, their best defensive lineman. Corey Littleton, their best linebacker, and Greg DeLeg-Zerline, who is one of the best kickers in the entire NFL. I don't know how they're going to be able to re-sign half of these guys, let alone sign enough to stay competitive or even be competitive again.
And they mortgage their future trying to build a dynasty and be so that they have no first round picks to speak of. They're like the Brooklyn Nets now with 0 first round picks forever, and have nothing to show for it but a Super Bowl berth, which is something. But at the end of the day, it's not enough.
It's not even close to enough. You know, if you make all those commitments and are able to win a Super Bowl, usually the ends justify the means. Like look at what happened with the Eagles. Even though Carson Wentz wasn't the one to bring them to Super Bowl, he led them there, and you could definitely say that them trading up to get him was worth it. They traded up to get him.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
I don't know how you could look at what the Rams did with Jared Goff, not only trading up to get him, but re-signing him to the contract they did, and can say we went to the Super Bowl. This was all worth it. It's just it's a damn shame.
Who would you rather have, Jared Goff or Dak Prescott?
First of all, I love this game. And after seeing, if you asked me going into the season, I would have said Jared Goff, no question. Now I gotta say it's Dak Prescott. He has improved so much. He has shown, all the haters wrong. And he looks like a franchise quarterback, whereas Jared Goff looks like he's following in the footsteps of Jameis Winston, where he can put up the yards, he could put up the fantasy points, but man, he can't keep it together for the entirety of the game.
Well, that brings me to my next question. Who would you rather have, Jared Goff or Jameis Winston?
Man, this one's tough. Jameis is such an enigma where he can win you a lot of games with his arm, but man, it's ugly, and he could absolutely lose you those games as well. Um, I feel like I'd have to have it be a toss up. I don't know. Like it's really just a pick 'em in this case. It's I love Jared Goff. I love his potential, but he just has never really shown that he could be a superstar quarterback. So I guess I'll go with Jameis. Why not?
All right, who would you rather have, Jared Goff or Josh Allen?
I'd rather have Josh Allen.
Why?
He adds a whole nother dynamic with his legs. Um, Honestly, he can't throw nearly as well as Jared Goff, because Goff is still a very polished passer, just not very consistent. Allen also has those consistency issues, but he's basically a Cam Newton light. And I think the team would be a lot more dynamic offensively if they had Josh Allen.
Trying to think if I have any more. I'm not sure I do at the moment. All right, one more. Who would you rather have, Jared Goff or Baker Mayfield?
Ooh, I'd take Baker Mayfield. I think a lot of the problems in Cleveland rely on their just absolutely atrocious offensive line and Freddie Kitchens being over his head, being a head coach really for the first time. So I think Baker could be a lot better with, especially with Sean McVay. Any one of those guys with Sean McVay, I would take in a heartbeat.
All
Um,
right, that concludes this edition of Who Would You Rather Have. Thank you for playing.
who would you do?
Uh, shall we conclude with some Tom Coughlin talk? Or do we have anything else to say about the Rams missing the playoffs?
Um, I mean,
What would you be more surprised about? The Rams missing the playoffs, which is happening,
are we
or
talking like leading into the season?
sorry, at the beginning of the season, the Rams missing the playoffs, or the Niners possibly winning 13 games.
Ooh, I guess I'd have to say the Niners just because I knew they'd improve. I'd really like them to improve this year. But 13 games is a whole big, that's a huge step up. So the Rams missing the playoffs in that division wouldn't be like a crazy wild situation as much as, we all thought they'd comfortably win the division just because we thought they'd be so good. But we knew the 49ers would be good. We knew the Seahawks would be good. But I would definitely say the Niners winning 13 games is a little more out there than the Rams missing.
That's fair. One final question on standing stuff. Do you think that the winner of the NFC East finishes above 500?
The winner of the NFC. I think they're gonna finish at 500. What are the Cowboys at right now?
Both teams are 7-7.
Yeah. Yeah, I think actually I actually have it up right here. So
The
let's see.
Eagles' final two games are the Cowboys and the Giants, which means that the Cowboys' last two games are the Eagles and the Redskins.
Yeah, so Washington and Giants, I feel like those gimme wins. So it comes down to this week 16 matchup. Damn.
Wow.
I guess I would say Dallas wins it. Well, no, because if they both beat Washington and they both beat the Giants, one of them's going to finish.
Yeah, the
9-7.
lowest record that the winner of the division could have is 8-8. They cannot finish below 8-8 because someone's got to win the matchup against each other, which puts one team at 8-7 guaranteed. And then even if they lose the next week, it puts them at, unless they finish this game in a tie, which would be hilarious. And they go into week 17, 7-7-1, and then lose week 17, and then both teams are 7-8-1. And then it just goes down a tie. Corwin, I want that to happen so bad now.
I want that so fucking bad.
Oh my God. Could you imagine you are the Minnesota Vikings? You are 10-4. Let's say you win, your last couple. You're 12-4. It was a great year. You just missed winning the division against the 13-3 Packers. And you have to go to Dallas and they're 7-8-1. You won 5 more games than them. And it didn't matter.
I'm actually really upset that I am not, I didn't come home yesterday so that we could have watched this game and just gone off on hoping for a tie between these two. Because honestly, if they tie, I don't give a shit what happens next week in week 17. It doesn't matter. I want these teams to tie and just have a ridiculous tiebreaker.
So it's the 4:25 game. Do you think it should be the primetime game instead?
Yes. I don't even know what the primetime game is, but it should be.
Neither do I.
It should be this. What other game has this high of stakes?
No, nothing I care about.
Playing for this is the division matchup right here.
Oh yeah,
you're in. Yeah,
100%. This is great. It's
Man,
in Lincoln Financial.
the link.
All right.
Maybe I'll drive there.
Shall we talk about Tom Coughlin to close it out? Yeah. I think Corwin's computer just died.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, buddy.
Sorry, I thought I had a little more time to make it through the end.
No worries. So shall we talk about Tom Coughlin to close out the show?
We should talk about Tom Coughlin because I feel like this is kind of a big deal, especially with everything going on with the Jags right now.
Yeah. Would you mind going through it for us?
Yeah, so the Jaguars, Shad Khan fired Tom Coughlin as the vice president of player personnel, which is very significant, not just because it's Tom Coughlin, Hall of Fame coach and front office guy, but because of some of the allegations and issues with the NFLPA that the Jaguars have been facing. Essentially, what it's come down to. The Jags have been fining players for missing mandatory appointments with a club trainer or physician in the offseason before training camp for players that finished the season injured, despite the NFL CBA saying expressly that teams are unable to force players to see team physicians or team trainers, team doctors, and that they have the right to go see whoever they want in the offseason. So a specific player was fined over $700,000 for missing quote unquote mandatory appointments. And then the jointly appointed arbitrator rejected the Jaguars' arguments and settled it there. But the kicker with this is in the last 2 years, more than 25% of the total grievances filed by NFL players in the entire league have been filed against the Jaguars.
Which is ridiculous.
Fucking insane. There's 32 NFL teams, and more than a quarter of them are at a specific team in front office. That is fucked.
Just to emphasize it with numbers, that means that if there were 100 grievances filed, the other 31 teams, on average, 2.5 were against each team. So you can round it down to 2, call up to 3, whatever floats your boat, and then 2.5 per team, 25 to the Jaguars. Literally 10 times as many to the Jaguars.
It's
huge.
Fucked.
25% doesn't sound big, but it's fucking big.
When the population size is, that much larger, it's a huge deal. And we've heard issues about Tom Coughlin and his attempt at, just basically keeping order. Like, he has his own way of doing things, and it's his way or the highway. Like, all the clocks in the team buildings are set 10 minutes ahead of time, because if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. That kind of philosophy. And it's had various effects and various reactions from different people amongst the different teams he's been on. But in the past, he's built winning teams. He's won 2 Super Bowls coaching the Giants. and it didn't work out in Jacksonville. And honestly, I think this is it for him. I mean, he's a legendary coach and front office guy, but I don't know how he can get back into the NFL after this. I say that, but the NFL is a boys' club that we always talk about, so anything's fucking possible.
I hate that that's right. I really hate that I was going to argue with that and I couldn't. Fuck. God damn it. Yeah, he should be done though. He really should be. This between his age and this, he should be done.
Yeah, it sucks because I like Tom Coughlin. By all means, outside of this, I thought he was a good coach and I was a fan of his.
And he was a very sympathetic person at what was considered the end of his career when he left the Giants, because he was forced out by the evil Maras who were like really fucking with the whole organization. They didn't handle it in the right way. Tom Coughlin was a very sympathetic figure when he left the Giants, when he was forced to leave the Giants, and he is ending his career on a significantly more sour note.
Yeah, it's a shame. But you know what? If this is what it takes to improve the NFL as a whole, I can't help but support it.
Yeah, you do what you got to do, you know.
Anything else you wanted to cover with this topic?
Not with this, but I do have a little update here.
Perfect. Let's hear it.
Nick Senzel has just hired Scott Boras to represent him.
Another top prospect for the Reds, center fielder. You know, could be he's essentially going to be the next Joey Votto, I think, if, you know, Juan Soto doesn't beat him there. That's his ceiling, which would be super dope. I'm a big fan of his, obviously, but yeah. Big deal. Scott Boras, man.
Oh, yeah, I had something pulled up about Scott Boras. I don't think we got to. Where was it? It's just the sheer volume of dollars that he is $936.5 million worth of contracts this offseason.
Just this offseason, yeah.
He is $63.5 million away from negotiating $1 billion of contracts this offseason.
Say what you will.
By the way, real quick, $1 billion at 5% commission.
So much money.
Oh, buddy. Wow, that's a lot of money.
Say what you will about his, you know, tactics and the way he goes about his business and, you know, getting contracts from teams. My God, he gets the job done, though. He knows what he's doing.
Honestly, some people hate him because their teams pay a lot for their players, but Scott Boras is very good for baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
players getting paid a big deal.
Is good for the baseball. I completely agree.
I know it hurts when the contracts get dished out, and it always seems to be Scott Boras who represents the guys who get them, but someone's got to be doing it, and he does a great job with what he does. So,
if I was a baseball player, I would definitely sign him.
Oh, fuck yeah, 100%. I don't
know why anyone wouldn't.
That should absolutely be your
Mike
goal.
Moustakas, and it kind of fucks you over a little bit, but whatever.
Hey, apparently Scott Boras is very, very good at doing what the client tells him he wants to do.
Okay.
So not everything that the ball players sign is necessarily what Boras recommends.
It's not just Boras getting what he wants to get and saying, all right, here you go, Mike. This is your contract. Sign it or don't.
Yeah. I forget what instance that came up in which I heard a whole dialogue about it, because I want to say it was surrounding Mike Moustakas. Like, I think that the whole thing was that it was suggested to Moose that he take the qualifying offer, and he said no. Like, he wanted to hit free agency, and Scott Boras said, okay, we'll do that, and then it did not pay off for him.
Man,
but yeah,
baseball players make a lot of money.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
All right. Anything else you want to cover today?
No, sir. That's all from me.
Nice little streamlined episode we got here.
Yeah, very efficient for us.
Which is rare.
For sure. All right, if you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at